Metric Motorcycle Madness presents Harley segment, front and rear brake bleeding. Okay guys, so we're going to be doing a brake fluid flush now. We've already replaced the pads in the front and back. So what you need to do is go to the front of the bike, which we showed in the brake pad replacement video. And you're going to need to remove the top reservoir cap. And there's two small Allen wrenches that you're going to need, or an Allen wrench to remove two small screws from the top cap so you have access to the reservoir. And the next thing you're going to need is a 3/8 inch standard wrench to be able to get on the bleeder valve. We're going to do the back first. This bike is the 98 Harley with an 04 motor. This is a Fat Boy. So this one calls for DOT 5, which cannot be mixed with DOT 5.1, 4, or 3. This mixture is silicone based and it is not glycol based. So the first step we're going to do is we're going to grab a fresh bottle and we're going to grab a hose, a couple different hoses here, see what fits best. First step we're going to do is going to take some, and you can do this with old fluid to put into the bottle if you want. However,
we don't have any
old of this kind, so we're going to be using new fluid. Not a big deal. Not a bad idea anyways, because you're going to get a little bit sucked back up in from the bottle every time you're priming.
Use a wrench or a knife.
So you don't need the bottle full all the way, you just need enough where you're going to get the hose to come down in and be out of the way. You're going to need an assistant for this because you're going to need an assistant to pump the brake while one person operates the bleeder valve with a hose. So what we're going to do is pour in a bit of this. Oh, what a wonderful color. It's like fucking Powerade. Kinda want to drink it.
What were we saying about warning labels and nature sorting itself out?
Something like that, yeah. So that's probably about good there to chase fluid through. We'll see. We'll put our cap back on. Also note, you might as well buy a bunch of smaller bottles because as soon as you crack these open and you break that seal, eventually over time, just like with your system, they'll start to get water in it. And it'll start to degrade and break down. So what I'm going to do now is find a hose that's going to fit on the end of this. And this one will fit fine. We're going to see if maybe a smaller one can't fit. Cut this one. Because it's nice to have one that's clear. It's kind of hard to find the correct tubing size, though. Let's see if this clear works. You want to try to have it as tight as you can, but sometimes you may have to get on with a zip tie or something like that to get on here and get it tight. Certain ones you may have to hold on there. This one looks like it'll be just enough where we should be able to get this on here. Make sure your exhaust pipe isn't hot when you do this. Alright, now you're going to take this and pass it down into your bottle, and you want to make sure it's not getting stuck at the bottom where it's just sucking air at the bottom. You want to make sure that you can bubble air and bubble old fluid out. Alright, so now what we're going to do is chase fluid. So what you need to do first is the assistant is going to press down fully on the brake pedal, and then you're going to crack the valve open about a half a turn for about a second, and then you're going to close it, and then the assistant is going to release the brake line, and that's going to start chasing fluid down through. As we do this, we're going to have to add more fluid to the reservoir as it goes down lower. And basically, we're just going to chase the old fluid out of this. And then once we've chased the old fluid out, we're going to chase as many bubbles as we can out. And after that, we're going to top off the fluid reservoir, tighten back down the bleeder valve and the cover, and then we're going to pump the brakes vigorously to get the pressure built back up. This way isn't foolproof. This is the old-fashioned way, because if you the better way is to get like a suction gun and pull it out instead of pushing it out. Or you can also have another method where they back pressure it, but it takes an hour or two or more. They actually blow pressure through the system back up opposite through into the reservoir. And those methods are actually better both ways than this, and they get less air. But this is the easiest and simplest way to do it without any special tools.
And therefore cheapest.
And therefore cheapest. Alright, so
If you hold the light, I can video and operate the...
I'm going to just hang this from the bag here. And then my assistant is going to press down on the brake. I'm going to get onto the this is on here pretty good, guys. Let's see, I don't know, we might need some PB blaster or something. Alright, there we go. So as you can see, fluid is starting to come down through. Alright, now I'm going to close. Assistant's going to release the brake again. Assistant's going to press down the brake. I'm going to open. And then I'm going to close. Now, like I said, some of it is going to keep coming down and back pressuring through a little bit.
We also have to check to make sure that there's still enough fluid in the reservoir tank here so that we keep positive pressure.
So I'm not sure if it's a possibility, but I'm not sure if all DOT5 has coloring in it like this, but the fluid that's coming out right now is kind of clear, kind of brownish, which feels to me like an indication somebody might not have put DOT5 in this system. It might have been DOT4. So we're going to really have to extra bleed this out through to make sure all the old fluid gets out. Alright guys, so we're basically continuously pumping the brakes a couple times and then letting the bleeder out, closing the bleeder, pumping the brakes back up. Remember to release your brake when you go to close the bleeder. So as you can see, we're getting a lot of dirty fluids coming out. We passed almost through the system at least once. We're going to keep going a little bit more, and then we're going to go to the front. Alright, so the cover is back on. We've topped off the fluid to the proper level.
Which is something we don't know.
Which is something, there's no markers. It's about 3/4 of the way up. You want to have enough room for fluid to be forced down without come back up into the reservoir if need be. You don't want to overfill it. So the bleeder cap's been tightened. We put the cap back on. We pump the brakes, rebuild pressure. Now we're just putting the cap back on. After we put the cap back on again, when that's sealed, we're going to pump the brake a little bit more and get the final pressure set. Now we're going to move on to the front after.
Not complete assholes.
Alright guys, so we're going to do the front now. So again, take the cap off, put the bleeder hose onto that. I'm going to open half a turn. So he's going to squeeze the brake lever. I'm going to open half a turn for a second, close it, and then he's going to pump it back up again. I'm going to open it, close it, he's going to release, pump it back up again. So we're going to do that same exact way we did like on the rear. And guys, make sure when you're pumping the brakes that you pump them back up until they're tight again. Hold them down and squeeze them while the person is letting the cracking the bleeder valve, and then they close it, okay? Alright guys, so we've bled the brakes now, repressurized a bit. Now we're putting the 2 screws of the cap back on, and then we're going to keep pumping the brakes again until we get full pressure. And that's basically brake bleeding. Pretty easy stuff. Nice nice color in the brake fluid now. Old bottle up there is all dark and black.